Viral video of officers dragging a passenger off a plane sparks outrage.
A student and teacher are dead after a shooting at a California elementary school.
And MU students raise awareness about sexual assault on college campuses. Good morning, it's Tuesday, April 11th, 2017. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Megan Judy.
I'm Brianna Stubler.
And I'm Tim Schmidt. It's a pretty quiet weather day for us out across the Midwest. All of the really active weather that kind of impacted most of us yesterday. It's well off to the east. Things are fairly calm. They're quiet, sunny for Tuesday, Wednesday.
Sounds great to me.
Typically, the calm is normally before the storm, though. So we'll probably have a forecast coming up in a little bit.
Thanks, Tim. Videos of police officers dragging a passenger from a United Airlines flight is bringing up questions about the procedures that led to the controversial incident.
The video taken by passengers sparked outrage yesterday on social media.
Passengers, they have surprisingly few rights when it comes to flights being overbooked. Federal regulations don't stop carriers from selling more seats than are on the flight because there are a certain number of no-shows they can expect. First, airlines will ask for volunteers to switch off overbooked flights, but if the airline can't get enough people, it has the power to decide who gets bumped off the flight. The Department of Transportation is now investigating if the flight complied with consumer protection regulations, including its oversales rule. A week after Election Day, and some organizers still have voter participation on their mind. KOMU's Shalita Norwood has more details on that meeting that encourages citizenship. Next steps in Syria for the United States following last Thursday's missile strikes. It's yet to be clarified whether President Bashar Assad must go, how displaced Syrians will be protected, and when the U.S. might take further action. This, as Russia and Iran are condemning the U.S. airstrikes, arguing military action will only energize terrorists. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson will travel to Moscow tonight to discuss the conflict. A senior U.S. official says the United States has concluded Russia knew in advance about Syria's chemical weapon attack a week ago. The official says a Russian drone flew over a hospital that was treating victims of the attack. Hours later, a Russian-made fighter jet bombed the hospital in a believed attempt to cover up chemical weapon use. The official says U.S. has no proof of Russian involvement in the chemical attack, but the presence of the drone couldn't have been a coincidence. Columbia Public Schools is working on passing a new budget after a gap was found. A look at how the board plans to fix it after the break. A campus climate survey shows more than 3 in 10 MU women report being sexually assaulted. KOMU8's Abby Breitenbach joins us live on the Mizzou campus. Abby, how do these numbers compare nationally?
20% of women nationally report having been sexually assaulted. That number is 10% higher.
The Columbia Public School Board has new leadership, and one of its first jobs will be approving a budget. In its original proposal, there was about a $190,000 gap in the proposed CPS budget between spending and income revenue. CFO Linda Quinley and her financial planning team reworked those numbers and say that gap should disappear. For the upcoming school year, CPS originally estimated the operating budget cost to be about $3.4 million, but now that number is up to $5.2 million.
The Board of Education does not have to approve a final budget until June 30th, and so they'll continue to have financial discussions as they look at the recommendations from the administration, they look at some of the other budgeting challenges they have ahead of them, and then ultimately make some decisions for a final budget to be approved in June.
In addition to the budget update, the Columbia Board of Education also elected new leadership at its meeting last night. The group elected Darren Prius as its new president and Jan Meese as vice president. With tax day less than a week away, some people might be a little worried if they haven't filed yet.
Don't worry, though. Technology has your back. NBC's Mary Maloney shows us apps that will help you file your taxes on time.
The FCC wants to ditch a plan that would have allowed people to make in-flight cell phone calls. The federal regulator had considered lifting a ban on calls during flights, suggesting in a 2013 proposal the policy was outdated. But the current FCC chairman announced yesterday he would stop that plan from taking off, saying it would be a victory for people who value quiet on airplanes. A proposal headed to the Missouri Senate that would legalize and regulate growing industrial hemp in the state. Missouri House lawmakers voted to pass the legislation yesterday. Supporters call the bill a development opportunity that could help farmers by cultivating new business. Critics say it's difficult to regulate. People in Missouri could possibly get immunity for carrying small amounts of drugs if they seek medical help for an overdose. House lawmakers passed a measure yesterday aiming to combat opioid and heroin overdose deaths in the state, but opponents say the bill would do little to curb Missouri's rising numbers of overdose deaths. For the last 20 years, the Cassini spacecraft has been sending us information and pictures about Saturn. But now it's time to say goodbye.
The spacecraft is embarking on its last mission, but as CNN's Paul Verkaman tells us, it's a first-of-a-kind journey.
It is 4:54 on your Tuesday morning, and that's a live look out over Columbia Regional. Thanks for waking up with us. You're watching KOMU 8 News.